that I'm eating high protein. So it's typically something like this. Yesterday they had oatmeal, chicken breasts, and a salad for lunch. Dinner, maybe they had some beef and pasta. You see, when we add up all that protein, that's maybe 55 to 75 grams of protein that they had for the entire day. You see, I used to think that because I had a large chicken breast and a protein shake, I was eating high protein. But that's not actually high protein. Hi, I'm Dr. Monique Brown. I'm a medical doctor and I'm also a health and fitness coach. And over here, we talk about health, wellness, fitness, and how you can be your healthiest, best, and most vibrant self without giving up the foods that you love. Some days we'll talk about mindset, nutrition, fitness, and music, and everything in between. So in this video, we're gonna cover 1, what actually counts as high protein. 2, how to know if you're actually eating the amount of protein that you need. 3, how to actually hit your protein targets. Or the biggest mistakes that I see women making every single day. So high protein is not actually new, right? It's just a new marketing label that Instagram and social media has put out. Bodybuilders, athletes, persons interested in nutritional science have been eating high protein for a very long time. It wasn't labeled as high protein. They were just having more protein than the normal person, because the traditional Western diet is very high in carbs. But we won't go there, right? So 2, how much protein do you actually need? Well, the first thing is, if your goal is to lose fat while maintaining muscle or building muscle, a really good starting point is 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight. So meaning your goal weight. So for example, if your goal weight is 150 pounds, then roughly aim for 105 to 150 grams of protein per day. I know you don't need to hit this goal like every single day. So if you only eat 145 grams of protein one day and then you eat 160 grams of protein another day, that's perfectly fine, right? So you don't have to worry. It doesn't have to be 150 every single day. And I know a question you're asking, will this damage your kidneys? Well, the first thing to ask is that, do you have healthy kidneys? Because if you have healthy kidneys, the research shows that it's very unlikely that a high protein diet is going to damage your kidneys. But I will always recommend that you just check with your doctor first. That's always going to be the first, step to ensure that you do your due diligence there, right? But once you have healthy kidneys, you should be perfectly fine with that. But again, always follow your doctor's advice. 3, I'd like to share my personal experience. You see, for years, because I've been in the gym, I've been working out, eating healthy for 15 plus years without telling you my actual age. And one of the biggest things about it is I could never understand why I was always sore. Like, I would play football, I would go to the gym, I'd work out, and I was always sore. My legs would cramp. My workouts, they wiped me out. I was so tired. It took me forever to recover. And I used to think that, maybe I just needed more electrolytes. I needed more supplements. Maybe it was that I was getting older. But honestly, the biggest thing that actually changed everything for me was hitting my protein target consistently. Because I started to recover faster. I started having more energy. I realized I wasn't as sore. After my workouts, my muscles just felt better. I felt lighter. I was able to train harder. And it was all because I was actually building muscle and staying full for longer, and I was allowing my body more time to recover. So I saw more muscle definition, and then I saw better fat loss. That's when I started to hit my protein goal consistently. Now, where should your protein come from? This is an interesting question because I prefer to get the bulk of my protein, and this is my preference, from foods, whole foods like chicken, fish, tuna, sardines, ground beef, lean ground beef, eggs, salmon, Greek yogurt, tofu if you eat tofu, and occasionally I'll use protein powders. Very rarely I'll do protein bars. I'm definitely not doing like protein oats. And it's not because they're bad, it's because I believe that it is far more filling to get your protein from whole foods. And I like, getting my foods from more filling meals, and that's very important for me. So that's my preference, that's my recommendation. Again, if you want to do protein bars, that's up to you, but I do believe that it's like far more filling, and I think that's very important when it comes to like trying to lose fat and actually build muscle at the same time. The next thing is, I want to give you a very simple and easy way for you to hit your protein goal. So let's say that your goal is to hit 150 grams of protein, right? Do not try to eat 150 grams of protein in breakfast or in dinner. It's easier if you spread it across the day. So a good rule of thumb is try to get 30 to 50 grams of protein at each meal. Personally, I do around 50 grams of protein for breakfast, 50 for lunch, and 50 to around 65 grams for dinner, because I like a bigger meal at dinner, and I normally have dinner around 2 to 3 hours before I go to bed. That helps me to stay full for longer, and that fits my lifestyle. And I think that's a very flexible approach. So how would you know if you're actually eating enough protein? That's a great question. The truth is, right now you don't know if you're eating enough protein. You are guessing. And you see, if you've never weighed your food, tracked your food, entered it into MyFitnessPal, and actually done that for a few weeks, you don't know if you're actually eating enough or you're having the right amount or portions of protein. So you just think you are, but you're not really sure. So what I want you to do is spend a few weeks, track and weigh your food. It's not forever, but this is going to give you better awareness, and you'll be so amazed that you're probably eating around 80 grams of protein or less. I personally found that I was only eating around 75 grams of protein when I was the most sore. How do you know if your protein increase or eating a bit more protein is actually working? Well, you won't know by just judging by one day, right? So you have to start looking at the trends. That looks like, one, how am I feeling? Am I recovering faster? Am I less sore? Do I have more energy? Have I increased the weights in the gym? Am I getting stronger? What's my average weight? Am I moving towards the direction that I want to move? So for example, if I go on a scale every single day, what's the average weight of that? Has my waist measurements changed? And I also recommend to do like weekly progress pictures. That way you can compare what you looked at week 1 of starting this compared to week 12. And that's gonna be very, very important. Now, the name of the game is not that you need to be perfect, right? You don't need to hit your protein goals specifically, like exactly every single day. If you're hitting like 10 grams below or above your target, that's gonna be perfectly fine. But if you're not measuring it, you're not actually eating high protein. You're hoping you are, you're just guessing. And until you have developed the skill of your weight and portioning and eyeballing, hoping and guessing is not a very good nutrition strategy. So I hope this video has helped you. I hope it has brought some more clarity. And if you are trying to lose fat and get stronger and be more toned and confident and sexy without your favorite foods are starving, thank you for watching. All right.